Hey, house church leaders, what's going on? Happy All Saints Day to you. If that means anything to you, it's 9:44 in the morning, and I'm coming to you from my basement. I wanted to do three things with you quickly this morning. One was just address an issue that I heard popped up at least once last week. So give you a little bit of advice on that. Second, I want to give you your Lectio reading for the week. And then third, talk about some details for our upcoming house church leaders meeting this weekend. So first, let's just kind of get to the what to do when stuff. What do you do when you have a group member who just kind of doesn't get it? So the group member who maybe is a little cantankerous, maybe tends to draw the discussion to themselves, maybe tends to be a little bit long-winded in all of their talking about things. Maybe it's a group member who exhibits some antisocial personality tendencies. What do you do with this person? Four things that I think that you can do, and all of these things I think that you should think about almost in terms of order of severity or order of intentionality in terms of how you're addressing it. So think about this in terms of levels. Number one, I would say that the first, if you have that group member who tends to just kind of draw everything into themselves, a little bit antisocial, whatever, the best thing that you can do and the first thing that you can do is think, okay, how can I do just a better job of staying clear on what we're doing and just keeping this thing on track? In other words, that's kind of what we talked about before with the commitment to the process idea. In other words, you're so committed to the process and you're so committed to how you're doing things that even if this group member is kind of acting goofy over here on the side, it doesn't matter all that much to you. You just kind of keep pushing forward. You know where you're going, and you don't get distracted by it. A great example of this is last fall. It was real funny when we were upstairs. We were still upstairs at First Baptist, and I was preaching one Sunday night, and there was this guy who wandered. He kind of wandered in off the street, and he was sitting in the back row. And about 2 minutes into my message, all of a sudden he goes like this, lifts his hand up in the air, and he kept it there the whole time I was talking. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking to myself, maybe he has some physical ailment. Like what is going on with this guy, right? Uh, Afterwards, it turned out he's this kind of weird guy. He had some problem with something I had said, I think, during the offering, and wanted to raise his hand and talk about it in the middle of church. And obviously, we don't do that. Our preaching time is not necessarily discussion time. So I found him after the service, and we talked a little bit and tried to iron out his issues. But the point being, and it's a little bit easier to do in a large group setting like that. But the point being, sometimes just the best thing for you to do is just stay committed to what you're doing. And that has this way of kind of keeping those destructive or distracting forces at bay. Remember, one of the things I said to you guys during the leader training was that a good metaphor for thinking about what you do in house church is that Genesis says that Adam was tasked to guard or to cultivate and keep the garden. And that's what you do, is that you're cultivating the garden and then you're also keeping and protecting the garden. And the way that you do that is by staying committed to the process. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, remember, this is the church. And one of the things that we do in the church is that we speak the truth in love to each other. And so if you have a person that's absorbing all the discussion, or is just, maybe they're just making comments that are just downright rude to other people in the group, it might be a good idea before the group meets the next time to pull that person aside and just spend a couple minutes just talking to them and just saying, hey, I've kind of noticed some things. That when people, that you tend to talk over people a little bit, or I've noticed that sometimes when people are really baring their hearts and trying to talk about stuff that's going on in their lives, you always jump in, but it's you just kind of arresting the discussion and bringing it back to you. And I mean, just whatever you need to do, say things to them that help them understand the way that they need to calibrate themselves so that they can successfully enter into the ethos of the group. Because really, when they're acting antisocial like that, they're really just robbing themselves. So part of your gift to them as a shepherd to them is that you're helping them make headway into the group by not calibrating themselves in ways that are destructive to the group ethos. So that's number two. Number three, I would say that you need to major in relationships. It might be that with some of these harder cases that you have, that you just need to go out and grab coffee or a beer with this person and find out more about them. And the denser your relationship with them is, the easier you'll be able to talk naturally with them and help them in the moment, not do this, that, or the other thing. And if you have a good relationship with them, in those moments of group discussion where they start, sucking up all the discussion and you kind of guide it away from them, they'll know that you don't dislike them, because you have a relationship with them. So I'd say number one, remember, manage what you're doing, stay focused on what you're doing. Number two, speak the truth in love whenever you can. Number three, major in relationships. And number four, if it really gets out of hand, you can always just come and talk to us as leaders. Give me a call, give Rusty a call, give one of us a call, let us know what's going on. And if we have to, man, we'll go extreme. And we'll arrange a coffee between you and the other person and me, and we'll just kind of talk through what's going on there and just try to figure that whole thing out. So manage the process, manage the discussion, talk to the person, speak the truth in love if you can, major in relationship, and then if nothing else works, this is what's so beautiful about belonging to a network of house churches, is that you can kind of run things up the flagpole when you need to. So that's that. Second thing was the Lectio Divina reading for this week. I'm starting a series on the Psalms this weekend, and I'm going to do Psalm 1. So it would be cool if the Psalm reading for this week, or the Lectio reading, was Psalm 1. So do Psalm 1 this week in your house church, and that'll kind of kick up some good spiritual energy for this weekend for preaching on it. So that'll be fun. And then this weekend, the house church leaders meeting. Here are the big important details on that. Number one, we're going to meet at 5 o'clock, so it's earlier in the evening rather than later. So let's meet at 5 o'clock at our place. Number two, Mandy and I are going to cook something Italian. We don't know what yet, lasagna or some kind of pasta or whatever. But it's going to be Italian, so if you could bring bread or dessert or wine or soda or salad or whatever. I mean, you get the idea, right? Anything that goes with an Italian dinner. So bring that stuff. We'll meet at 5 o'clock. It'll be really awesome. There's supposed to be some maybe inclement weather this weekend, so we'll keep our eye on that. And if we absolutely have to, we could bump the leaders meeting to next weekend, but we're hoping not to have to do that. Sorry for shaking the camera. So this weekend, 5 o'clock, Italian dinner. Bring all kinds of stuff. Okay, that's it. I can't believe I talked for 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Happy All Saints Day to you. Hope you're having a marvelous week. Stay happy. Stay safe. Stay thirsty, my friends. I don't know. Whatever. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.